Hey guys, Matteo here and welcome back to a new video. Today is going to be a little color grading tutorial about how I grade my Blackmagic Pocket 4K footage. So as you can see here, I created this folder and I have some clips. I have some ProRes LT, ProRes HQ, Blackmagic RAW. I don't have any Cinema DNG simply because I never really shot on in that codec and because it's not available anymore anyway. So one thing I want to tell you guys very quickly is this is a basic tutorial, so you're not gonna find like 65 power windows and nodes and crazy tracking. No, this is gonna be a very simple color grading tutorial, and it's pretty much what I do with my clients, with my footage, and with everything. And just want to let you guys know I'm not a professional colorist. I mean, I'm a DP and cinematographer, and I'm very good in DaVinci. I've been using this program since program is kind of Italian, so I've been using this software since 2013, and I really like it. And I'm pretty much editing, grading, doing sound, and everything in here. This is the studio version. I used to have the Lite, the free version for a while, but now I have the Pocket 4K. So of course the studio is included. And I love this software, and I think I'm pretty good. Again, I don't grade Hollywood movies. I grade commercial and that kind of stuff. And I also love to try to achieve the look in camera and try to don't do too much in post-production. So it's gonna be very simple, very basic, but it's gonna be a lot of information, and I'm gonna give you guys some tips on how to shoot certain scenes, or what you should do in production that you can't do in post-production. But we're gonna go through all these clips. I picked up some different situations. I was in Mexico, Turks and Caicos, here in LA. This is in Italy, a commercial for my dentist. But yeah, it's gonna be fun. But yeah, I just want to mention that again, I'm not a professional colorist. So whatever you're seeing, guys, this is what I do for my clients, and very simple, very basic, but I think it works super well for me. Also wanted to mention that some of these clips are going to be available online for download, and you can I'm going to post like a Google Drive link, but it's an exclusive for Patreon. So if you are on Patreon, you're going to have a link. You can download these clips and play around with that in case you don't have the camera yet or you want to test it. If you're not on Patreon, well, you guys should join because I'm going to post a lot of nice stuff there. But yeah, I just want to jump into this color grading tutorial. I'm not going to go through all the DaVinci functionality and everything. I was going to show you guys my main settings, the media section, and then the color grading, and that's about it. And I'm going to give you guys two different processes, one with Film Convert, the other one with just a Rec 709. That is basically what I do lately most of the time, because the Pocket is just so good that I only apply a Rec 709 a lot, and it works fine for me. Let's just jump into it, guys. And what I wanted to mention first of all is when you open DaVinci, oh, and by the way, I have a MacBook Pro 2017, 15 inches, spec out, so top spec, 4 gig of graphic card. And this is my SSD, a Samsung T5 1 terabyte, and I have my, I created this folder with color grading clips, which I'm gonna use today. So these are all the clips. First thing you want to do, guys, you want to check out your settings, because if you don't set up the frame rate before you import the clips, you're not going to be able to change it later. Or, I mean, you can, but it's very tricky, and sometimes it doesn't even work. So keep this in mind, set up your frame rate, not going to change it later. All right. And another, let me see, because this is already set up as I always use it, so I'm not sure if I have any other settings. I'm gonna go through here very quickly. Oh, one thing that I do when I may be editing, but this is not happening anymore. I was using, I was generating optimized media like ProRes 422 OLT, but this is when I was using the GH5S files, because they were like H.264. They were like killing my computer, but with ProRes it's totally fine. Blackmagic RAW, totally fine. Color management, that's it. Camera RAW. So these are my settings, 23.976, save, perfect. So should I save the project? Oh yeah, color grading tutorial, cool. So what I wanna do first, I set up my frame rate, I'm gonna select all these clips. So as you can see now, I don't have any folders here. What I usually do for big project, I go to master and I have bin and I start creating folder like day 1 and you know, and then I add another one and I do like day 2 and blah blah blah, and then in day 2 I create a subfolder and that kind of stuff. But I'm not gonna do it now because I don't need it, because it's a tutorial. But that's where you do it. That's where you manage your file structure and everything. It's in the media panel. So when you want to create folder, organize all your footage, you do it from here. And you can create smart bins as well and all that kind of stuff. But again, this is not a DaVinci specific tutorial. This is just how I create my pocket footage. So let's just drag everything in here. Perfect. These are all my clips, and what I'm gonna do from here, we're just gonna move to the editing panel, because of course we need to drag some clips in the timeline. Otherwise, they're not gonna show up in the color grading section. So what we're gonna do now, this is what I really suggest you guys to do. You might have some clips in here that are 60 frames per second, some are 48, some are 24, but what I usually do, select everything, clip attributes, and as you can see, I have a mixed frame rates in there, and I want to confirm everything to 24 or 23 point whatever, because otherwise it's not gonna look right. Or at least the 60p clips now, they're gonna play back in slow motion when you confirm them to 23.976. Yeah. Whew. Guys, you can't even imagine how hard it is to do this tutorial without messing up. And I mean, I'm Italian too, I'm not English, so it's twice as difficult for me. So hope you understand. So let's start here. Okay, let me see, let's see what we can do. So I have some tricky kind of clips, like low light and then daylight, sunset, you know, some green, some stuff, and I don't know why I picked up so many, but well, there's not that many. But this is raw, Blackmagic raw. But you know what? I'm gonna just, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna select everything. I'm gonna drag everything into the timeline. I'm gonna mute the sound. So here basically are all the clips, and what I can do from now, I can leave the editing tab, and I can just move on in the color grading session. So I go to my timeline and I set it up to 239. So boom, now we have our black bars, and now if we go to a clip and we go to tilt, we can just move it up and down as we want. If you don't want to crop it and just export a 1080p timeline with black bars, because some people don't like it, what you can do, you can go into timeline and you can set up 1920. When you shoot 1080, I think it's usually 800. Boom. And then from here, as you can see, you still have some black bars, but what we're gonna do now is we're gonna go to image scaling here, scale full frame with crop, bang. And I actually, for this video, I'm just gonna keep it at 1080 because this is what I usually do, and I don't want you guys to mess up with whatever. So you can actually put the black bars, and when you export, you can go back and do that 1920 by 800. But for the sake of this tutorial, I'm just gonna keep it with black bars, and we're gonna go from here. So here you can go up and down. Just be careful, because if you go too much, it's not gonna work. So okay. But let's start from the beginning. And so this is a commercial that I shot for my dentist in Italy. First of all, you want to bring up your scopes. That's for sure. So scopes here, and then what you want to do here is basically what I use is vector scope for skin tones, and I use the parade. You can, you know, you can have as many as you want, but I usually use these two. So usually I set it up right here, something like that. Okay. And this was a ProRes LT 4K. So now this is just me, and there's so many different things that you can do. You can do stuff in like so many different ways. So that's totally up to you. But what I usually do, And also depends from the project. If I'm doing something where I want a lot of grain, maybe I try to use film convert. If I want to make the footage very filmic and very like organic and grainy, I'm gonna use film convert, and I'm gonna show you how to. But what I'm usually doing, especially with these projects here, even the Mexico one, all this stuff, I'm trying to achieve the look that I want in camera. So I'm trying to be as precise as I can in camera. So all this clip, you're gonna see they're all perfectly exposed. Like I try to don't clip anything, of course, because I'm a cinematographer and that's my job. So all of these, as you can see, and keep an eye on that parade right here, but as I go through, there's nothing overexposed, there's nothing really underexposed, unless we're, in this kind of situation. But even here, it's not really, and nothing is really clipping in the shadows and in the highlights, or maybe here sometimes you clip, but whatever. This is all locked, by the way. But yeah, what I'm trying to do, I try to expose the footage perfectly. And I use filters, so if I want something that looks a better roll off in the highlights, I use the Black Promised. And what I've been using on all you see here, all this footage, every single clip, except for this one of the bottle and this one that I put here because there's a reason why. So these are the only two where I used circular ND and circular Black Promised. There is a pretty evident, green cast, and I think also the Black Promise is way stronger when we attach it to the lens versus the matte box. Everything else you see, guys, here is matte box, Tilta matte box, Black Promise 1/4 by Tiffen, and Nisi IR ND filter 0.9 and 1.8. So. It's very important. I know the matte box are expensive, the filters are expensive, but the result that you have, it's absolutely great, and I love it. So let's start with this clip. Actually, this is a ProRes LT. I'm gonna put it full screen here and play it back. This is 4K. Plays back very, very nicely. There's some noise, but I think it's normal. I was pretty under, I guess, there. Not really, but what I usually do, create a node. Lots, and I go to Blackmagic Design, and I go to Pocket 4K Film to extended video V4. Boom. This is very, very soft, as you can tell. It's nothing crazy. You can even see that from the parade. It doesn't really increase the contrast that much. It's very soft, and I really like it. I have to be honest with you. There's a nice flare here too, if you can see. I think this is from one of those lamps in the studio. So usually when I want a very basic look and I just want to go with Rec 709, that's what I do. I put the LUT on node number 2. Here's my Pocket 4K to extend the LUT. And then I go back to my node number 1, and from here I just start grading it. So for example, let's see what I can do here. I usually try to bring my highlights a little bit higher, even if in low light situation this is not probably a very cool thing to do, because the noise is gonna come up very badly. So but in this case, I'm probably gonna just go like this, and I want to keep it kind of moody, I think. So it's like honestly, I don't even mind that kind of noise. And this starts right here. So from here, what you guys can do on this panel here, you have your color temperature, so you can make it very blue, very yellow. You can, and I mean, you can play around with like the highlights too, the gain here. And I think I kind of like it on the blue, because this was like a very kind of techy music and techy videos too. So I want to make it blue, and this is what I want to do. I can touch the mids too a little bit, so bring down a little bit of noise. And these are already looking pretty decent. And the other thing you can do here, maybe I don't really like this side here is maybe too yellow. So what you want to do here, usually create another node, and you apply a mask there. So when you apply a mask here, and keep in mind this is ProRes LT, so you can't do crazy stuff because otherwise it's gonna start getting very weird. And yeah, what I do, if that was too much, I can bring it in onto the blue side as well. I can push it towards the green if I want. I can push it if I want to make it warmer and mix the color temperature. That's too warm, but something like that. But I think I want to kind of make it neutral as much as I can. So I'm gonna go down to the blue. There we go. So that's before and after. So basically what happened, we had some blue LED lights in the room, and this is the hallway, and there was those very ugly yellow lamps that I don't really like it. So in this case, with a simple mask, I was able to make those look more natural. But if you want to do some noise reduction too, you have your panel here, and you can do it. I'm not gonna do it because it's gonna freeze my computer and it's not gonna move anymore. But you can do some noise reduction and get rid of that noise. But this was a very tricky situation, and honestly, I think this was one of the first shoots that I had with the Pocket where I didn't even realize how bad the noise was at ISO 800, and I have the feel that this was on ISO 800 because basically it's dual native ISO 100 to 1000 and then from 1250 to 3200. But of course 800 is very, very high, so it's pushing the sensor a lot, so there's a lot of noise. So if you want to shoot 800, do not do it because it's crazy noisy even in daylight. I recommend to do 1250 because it looks much better, and I think it's what I did here. Or if you can't afford it, I mean, if you can, just go down to 400 because it's probably better. This is another shot, and let's see that maybe you have another clip where you want to replicate the same look and you really like it. So I usually click right, grab still. Now I'm gonna have my still here, and when I find another clip, well, you can press this plus and it's gonna apply whatever look I had on the previous node. And if you press minus, it's gonna apply the look of this clip right here, not this one, but this one. Or otherwise, you can just go in gallery and apply grade, and you're pretty much there. What I usually do, I go down with the temperature because this is more natural. Let me see where this clip goes. Oh yeah, there we go. So before and after, and if you can tell here, see how yellow was, like that. But thankfully, ProRes LT is pretty good. So see, this kind of stuff, I can't do this with the Sony footage. I can't. When I move the wheel like that, like everything is gonna change. Everything, not just the highlights, like everything. Because it's 8-bit, so you don't have a bunch of information to work with. But with ProRes, even LT, it looks totally fine to me. And this is already looking nice. Just keep it kind of moody. A little bit of contrast, and I mean, this camera is like fantastic. Skin tones are crazy good on the Pocket, I have to say that. This is a shot that I posted on Instagram. You guys really like it. This might be a tricky one, you know? This might be a tricky one. So this is 4K DCI ProRes HQ, shot in Mexico. Let's do it. Let's just do it. And I want to give you guys two versions. So first one, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to apply my Blackmagic light. So as you can tell, when you have the right lens, the right situation, the right lighting and everything, it's gonna be way easier even in color. Like, for example, take this shot. What else can I do? I mean, yeah, I'm gonna play around with it, but that's what I mean with trying to get the look that you want in camera. When you have the look that you want in camera, you go in post-production, you apply a lot. See, like, you don't want to crunch the shadows too much. Bring out I want to kind of keep it moody too. I like it already. I don't think I have to do any. That's it. And that's most of the time what happened to me. I go to color grade and apply a lot, and it's ready to go. This would never happen with the Panasonic GH5S. This is something that happens with two cameras usually, and one is the Alexa and one is the Pocket. These two cameras are the only ones, and probably the Ursa Mini too. So I would say Ursa Mini and Pocket. These cameras are the only one where I go to post-production and I apply a Rec 709 a lot, and I'm happy with it. And I don't really want to do anything. I mean, sure, we can apply a mask here, and you know, like if we want to make this kind of sun being like brighter, but I think it's already good, and it's already kind of what I want and very close to the final result. So let's just trying to play this thing back, but you know, it's like a very static shot. Nothing is really going on. It's a real estate kind of architecture shot, but I like the lights, and I like their reflection of the pool. You can see it here on the wall, how it's moving, and the lights coming through, and everything is just beautiful. And I don't think I'm gonna do anything with it, but what I wanted to do though, we're gonna create another version here, and I'm gonna try to grade it with Film Convert. So I'm gonna drop a link in the description below if you guys want to get a 10% off of your Film Convert. You can just buy it. Okay, reset color grade. What we're gonna do right now, we gonna do Film Convert. Oh, I also have this plugin which is very cool. This is false colors, and as you can see, it's a very dark image. She's exposed pretty, yeah, well, I think in the face, she's on the green, so that's good. Oh, and something that I wanted to tell you guys before we go ahead. I don't know if you remember, I used to post something about the harsh highlights roll off of the pocket, and this is something that I actually noticed, and I think they did improve it, and I think they improved it while I was in Mexico. So basically, when I first got the pocket and I went outside and I started shooting, I noticed that even if the highlights on the skin tones or in the sky, they were not clipping, they were super bright. And I usually, you know, expose the highlights, and I try to keep like on the pink on the face, but even like a little bit above, it's usually never really clips. And it's not that it's clipping, it's just so bright. So basically, this is the pink. Even when you were, I was exposing like right here, they were already like very hard to recover. A lot of white spot on the face, like very bad. But it wasn't clipping, so I think they fixed it now. Very. They didn't say anything about it, but I noticed they improved that a lot. And so what I wanted to tell you guys, when it comes to false color, don't get past the pink at all on the skin, especially if you're shooting like a close-up or anything. Do not go above the pink. And even if you're shooting like highlights like this one here, as you can tell, this is on the green, perfect. And in fact, this is perfectly exposed, and this is a pretty harsh kind of situation, but because I knew that I couldn't go past the pink, and I intentionally put it on the green. Of course, I'm a bit underexposed here, so I might have some noise here, you see, in the shadows, but I mean, do you really care about this part of the frame that is like kind of underexposed? I don't really. So when you check it out like full screen, this is fine. Yeah, there's some noise that you can clean up if you want to, but I think it's totally usable for me. What really matters to me is not clipping those highlights, because otherwise it's going to be a problem. So keep this in mind, guys. Trying to expose for when it's very bright and you can go to like between the pink and the green, that's totally fine. Green is super fine too. If you go under the green, that's everything else is going to be very underexposed. But here, see the highlights? These are all green. That's perfect. And everything else is kind of in the middle. And yeah, I'm going to show you guys another example after this. But this is something to keep in mind when you do your exposure in the camera. Because it's not just about the framing, the filters, and everything. The exposure is the key. Because if you don't expose right, you're not going to be able to get such a great result out of the camera in DaVinci. So, log, graded, boom. I barely touch anything. I just apply a Rec 709 light and I loved it. But let's go back to version 2 because I wanted to use Film Convert here. So, Film Convert. Let's get rid of that false color here. Well, let's do this and Film Convert. Boom. So Film Convert, I don't know if you guys are familiar with it. Probably yes, because it's pretty popular. It's a plugin that allows you basically to convert your footage in different color space, especially film stock. They have all these kind of different film stock, and one of each has its purpose. In this case, I can't even remember what was the ISO, but that I shot with. Probably that was 400, I guess, because it's not that noisy. But basically what you want to do, you want to choose your camera profile, because this is a very cool thing about these slots. They're made specifically for that camera. So in this case, Pocket 4K, film, of course, apply, bang. Now, here there's some work to do, but let's just start with this panel right here. We have the exposure, which I don't usually touch. There's the color temperature too. We can make it cooler and brighter. Don't usually touch it either. What I usually do, I go here and this is all the different stocks, film stocks that you have. I'm gonna go through all of them very quickly. As you can tell, this is very contrasty, very filmic, and these are all the black and white one. I mean, this is a very specific look, so you need to be careful with these. And maybe if you're doing your short film or your something that needs that kind of look, you should probably go for it. But if you're doing a commercial and they wanted to make it look like a commercial, you shouldn't probably. But I love it. I love it using for like my personal stuff, documentary, short film, that kind of stuff, and sometimes commercials too. Why not? But sometimes I find it a little bit too much. Yes, I mean, I love it. This looks like a painting for me, but it's not. I can't make those decisions. Usually it's the client or the agency, so I have to be careful with that. So, but let's just try it. So this is the grain, which is very important, and it's going to make a huge difference. So this is grain 100, and this is grain 0. So if you want to keep it clean but giving it that look, you can do it. You can just try to grab the VD, which I really like it. What did I do? Okay, and then from here, there's a bit of work to do here, but it's kind of cool. It's kind of cool. It's getting nice, and it's crazy how different the grain does. Because like, if you think about it, this is our version 2 with film cover, and this is our version 1. So definitely different. This is more punchy too. This is very soft. This is like basically there's like any grade on it, but this has character. It has those like characteristic of the film stock, and you can lift up the shadows a little bit more, and can do this kind of stuff. But maybe we want to do it like kind of old film look. So this is the size of the film stock. So you can basically pick up whatever you want. So you want to do it very grainy and nasty, you should go with Super 8. Look at that. I mean, it's basically blurry. And you have to put some grain on for sure. So let's put it back at 100. And yeah, there we go. That's your 8mm film right there. But pretty sure the client wouldn't be happy with that. So yeah, we can keep it Super 16. A little bit cleaner. Still a lot of grain, but we can go down with the grain maybe. Still a bit blurred. Or like basically all the time I do 35mm because that looks sharper and nicer. So 35mm from frame. There you go. You have some film grain on it, so that's cool. And here you have your saturation bar, so you can play around with that too, and leave it in the shadows, and you can just play around with it. There's like so much stuff, but basically film convert, it's very useful when you have a very digital image, because it's gonna convert the color space in the film stock pretty much, and so the footage is gonna be a little bit more filmic. And I used film convert all the time with my GH5S, because I think the GH5S out of the camera is very, very digital, and it looks like very video-ish. I don't like it. And so for all my jobs that I did with the GH5S, I used film cover all the time. With the Pocket, it depends on the project. In this case, again, it's a commercial, so it's very hard to justify. But I mean, you can do some pretty crazy stuff. This looks very nice actually, the Super X for Android. I'm gonna put some grain on, and you know, it's kind of cool. It's kind of cool. And again, this is our version 1. Boom. Very natural, very little bit more digital, but actually now that I'm thinking about it, I really like that version. Okay, after this, what I usually do, actually this is probably a bit too strong, but the good thing is you can, so this is basically the intensity of the entire thing. So if you put it to 0, this is basically nothing at all. Then you can increase it, so you can decide. It doesn't have to be super strong. It can be like a little bit, but curves, that's another very important thing, because here you're gonna decide, you know, like you can lift the shadows a little bit, so you don't want to be too punchy. You can just go back a little bit and make it a little bit softer, just a tad, and that's really looking very nice. And you get more colors out of it too, because like when you check this out, the color comes up, see, especially in that background right there, right here. Look at the colors. Here's like not a lot of colors, whoop, and then the saturation come up, so quite a lot. And I kind of like it, to be honest. And then we can maybe go ahead and, you know, adjust some stuff in here and make it look kind of dreamy. I don't know. There's so much stuff you can do, guys. So there we go. It's another version. So that's pretty much Thin Convert. I'm gonna show you guys Thin Convert in another scenario, because every time you change clip, it changes quite a lot. So, but yeah, that was Thin Convert. Let's go in here, because this is tricky as hell. Oh, got a nice pelican flying over here. Shit, 42 minutes. Better be quick. Yeah, so what do I do here usually? I don't know what we can do. Let's just start with our basic LUT, and okay, so in this case, as you can tell, the sun is, you know, it's very bright. It's like, this is a very difficult situation actually, because like we have the bright sun back there. So here you can see those 13 stops of dynamic range, because like, let's just lock it here. Again, Rec 709 last, guys, and I'm pretty happy with it. So let's just basically make this thing better, reframe it a little bit. But yeah, so this is the clip. We have these pelicans flying 48 frames per second. Look at that, flares. They shot on the Takumar, by the way. So what can you do here? I really like it. It's stupid because I'm doing a very basic tutorial where I'm basically applying a Rec 709 LUT, but I mean, aren't you happy? The reason why I'm able to achieve these kind of things in color grading, as I said before, it's a mix. It's the lens. So the Takumar is a very special lens, and it does, see those flares, the filters combination, the black promise, the perfect exposure. So this is actually, let's check the false colors here, because I'm very curious to see what did I do. False colors, let's see if I'm clipping or anything. Okay, this is impressive, and of course this is under. This is under, which doesn't mean it's completely gone, but it's very under. So our pelican is under, right there. It's not right here. I still have some information left here. But check out the sky and check out the ocean. This is the flare of the sun, the reflection. Nothing's clipping, like nothing. We have all the information we want. It's kind of clipping, of course, in the sun, but it's, you know what, it's probably not even that clipped, just a little bit. I don't think it's extremely red, it's kind of orangish. Around the sun, we're pink, which is great. And if we move a little bit more, that's green, which is even better. And check out the ocean. We're not underexposing anything here. It's darker, for sure, but we're not missing details. We're not. And when we put the LUTs back on, we're not missing details. We are not. And that's the beauty of this camera. The insane dynamic range. Insane dynamic range. This, guys, is like insane. Like details in the sun, in the sky, in the sun, a little bit of details, and nothing is under. But again, pocket. This is another shot. This is actually one of my favorite, very Lubetsky-ish. This was shot on the 8mm SLR Magic. I apply a Rec 709 lot. What should I touch? Like, and why? So I ask Karina to just walk down the beach. I'll show you full screen. She goes. So here you can tell me, oh my gosh, she's so dark and the beach is so dark. That's what I want to do. Keep in mind the sun went down here already since like quite a while. But this is what I wanted. I wanted a silhouette-ish kind of look. So with that in mind, you know, we have very good details in the sky right here. She's silhouetting, but I like it because it's dark. And she has to be dark. There's no point even of putting like a light behind here. She doesn't need a light. There's no point. There's a nice pelican flying by. Sweet, 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 sweet. Yeah, 8mm, so this was actually a real 16. So these two clips, as I said before, these were shot on the circular screw-in ND and Black Promise. So I want to give you guys an idea of how different this looks. You're gonna have a lot of green cast here, and that's a bit over. Well, not really. I'll recover that. Okay, this was a very tricky situation too, because this is like, it was very dark in here and here was basically sunset. So but let's keep it like this, and that Modelo. Okay, I'm gonna give you guys a pretty nice little tutorial on this bottle here. So what I can do here, let's say that this is a commercial for Modelo and this is our hero shot. It's clearly not, but just pretend to. So what we can do here to fix this, to make our bottle a little bit better. First, as I mentioned before, it's a bit different from the matte box. So you have a little bit of green cast that we want to fix, maybe putting 10 here. So now it's 10, and that was before. See, it's a big green. It's nothing crazy, but it's a big green. And the intensity of the Black Promise is a bit too much. It's not as strong. 1/4 on the matte box is definitely less stronger than 1/4 attached to the lens. But anyway, I just wanted to give you guys an example, and here too. See, I'm gonna just do it for the sake of it. So I want to show you. It's very green, very, you know, like you can tell there's like a variable ND in front of it, and it's, you know, it's still usable, and you can still correct it because you can go just a little bit like this. You can put 10 here, and it's pretty natural. But in terms of image quality in general, I noticed a big difference with the IR ND from Nisi, so very cool. But back to the bottle, hero shot. What we're gonna do here? Very simple. We're gonna put a mask on that bottle and make it brighter if we can. We should have the enough information. So let's just pull in our false color very quickly. It's kind of underexposed. It's kind of under. Everything else is pretty good. This is a little bit too bright, but that's kind of good. So still some information. So there's, I might be able to retrieve some of this. So what I'm gonna do, let me see, where's the power windows? Right here. I'm just gonna create a power window and make it softer. And of course, what you want to do is increase the shadows a little bit. The highlights. Let's see where we can push this bottle actually, just to, for the sake of the test. Let's see where I can push this bottle with the offset. So of course you don't want to do anything like that, but you need to make it look natural too. So let's put the highlights a little bit, the shadows a little bit down, medium. So let me see, how was it before? It's not a huge difference. Oh well, but it's probably enough. You know, I'll be happy with it. Of course, not for $1 million Modelo commercial, but pretty happy with it. And I didn't do much. I just increased the highlights a little bit more. I can do it more. And as you can tell, even the color like looks sick now. What also can do, we can smooth off the mask a little bit more, maybe make it a little bit softer. Of course, you have to be careful because otherwise it's gonna look kind of shitty and cheap. But I mean, not too bad for a 30-second fix. So, you know, like cerveza, model. Of course, there's some noise here because he was underexposed. So, let me see. Oh, not even that much. It's actually, I really like it. I want a beer now. But anyway, this is something I usually do when this is just an example very quickly, guys. I didn't track it anyway. Oh, let's just see. Okay, I can track it. Okay, so if you want to track it, let's say the camera is moving. It doesn't have to move that fast, but if you want to track it, we go back here. We are on Windows, Tracker. We just press this button. And then we're going to track it forward too. So let's see if we stick there. Oh, nice. Oh, nice. Good job, Da Vinci. In this case, you have to keep in mind, the Takumar is a vintage glass and it doesn't have a lot of contrast, especially when you're shooting outside. It doesn't. It's very soft glass. So as you can tell for the parade, this was the log and this is the Rec 709, which is kind of still looks like a log. So let's just put the false color in here. Oh, perfectly exposed, all good. So we're gonna do here, activate these. So what I usually do when I shoot with the Takumar, because it's so soft, I have to increase the contrast a lot. So in my case, I'm gonna bring down those shadows, and I want to take out that blue water too. So, but how are we gonna do that? So we can push that. This is mainly done with the mids, with the gamma. So check these out. No colors, colors back. I'm gonna stretch that image, make it even. Honestly, guys, I really like that punchy kind of look. If we want, we can get a little bit color boost here. See, without being too crazy, maybe a 7 color boost. So this is with the LUT, Rec 709 on it. Again, log, Rec 709, which doesn't change anything. And then here you can actually see that nice water. You know, this is such a beautiful beach in Mexico. But now I grab those colors and I pull them out from that Takumar, because sometimes it kind of like makes color a little bit but before after. So man, look how soft it is. This reminds me of the lakes I like a lot. See, check out this clip. So this is what I was telling you guys before. See that white spot on the forehead? So let's just put our color, false color in here, and let's check these out. Because in my opinion, this is not clipping, and it's not. See, like in this case, the skin here, it's brighter, but it's not yellow or red or anything. So in theory, there is nothing overexposed in this frame, like nothing. I should be able to recover pretty much everything. But for some reason, that white spot is just white. And most of the time is basically because maybe you're sweating. And so just to, long story short, my eye was probably seeing this spot as a white because he was sweating, or I don't know if he has sunscreen on or whatever. So this was very, very white to my eye too. So of course the camera can't really do anything about it. My complaint for Blackmagic, which I think they fix it later on, because in this case probably I already updated the camera. Nope, I didn't. I remember the firmware update came out when I was shooting, and I just did it at home, and I didn't really test anything else. And this was not the B-Raw, this was the previous one. And I think with that one, the 6.1, I think they fixed that, this kind of stuff. So look at that. This is like pure white, which again, I get it. My eyes was kind of rendering the white like that. What I wasn't happy about was this, how not smooth the roll-off was. So this is extremely bright, and then it goes straight into, like, you know, the skin. So I used to have a bunch of like these white spot on the forehead of models, and I wasn't really happy with how harsh it was. So I think it's pretty harsh. Here, again, and again, like, see here, it disappeared right here. So it's clearly like it was wetting in the sun and everything. So, but when it turns out, like, yeah, I mean, if you zoom in here, that's like pure white. And that's the difference between an Alexa and any other camera, because the eyelets roll off is incredibly smooth. But just to keep that in mind, and I'm gonna increase the contrast just a little bit on this one, maybe. But like, see, like, okay, check this out. In theory, check the parade right here, top bottom right corner. I'm not clipping anything. I have all the information right there. But this is white, guys. This is a big freaking white spot, which I'm not happy with. So it's called thin convert. Let's see how it reacts. So boom, we're gonna pick up our camera, Blackmagic design, Pocket 4K, here, film, okay. This is nice. I mean, I like it. I really like it. And now you can clearly tell the difference between the regular LUT and film emulation LUT. So again, I will go into the curves and fix this a little bit. This is like a, almost looks like a negative. I will keep it like something like that. Like that. Here I'm trying to make it what I would love to deliver to a client, so this is definitely a bit too much. In this case, I think I want to kind of make it warmer, or probably, you know what, I don't know, I kind of think it should be I think that was the right one. Okay, so I kind of like the grain too, a little bit of a grain, so that's very, very nice. And filmic, so let's see, I'm just drinking the coffee. Yeah, this is kind of like a very nice film look, if you think about it, because I'm going here. This is a typical LUT. Yeah, of course, looks like a little bit more digital, a little bit more like, you know, not a lot of style. But when you use that thin convert, man, it's like, I love it. I love it how it reacts, and very smooth, very cool. And you can play around with that, dude. You can make it very contrasty, very nice, and moody, and do pretty much whatever you want with these files. And these are just ProRes HQ. Boom. Maybe too much, but I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay. These was shot with, I have the DNO LED light panel out there. This was Blackmagic RAW 12x1. People complains about it. They say it's really bad and it's unusable and it's very compressed and blah blah blah. So we're gonna just test the shit out of it. And let's see. So lots applied. Again, I kind of think my exposure was a bit under, but I wanted to keep it moody. So, and because you want it moody, you have to shoot it dark. But what we can do, because we shot raw, like, check that out. We can go like kind of everywhere with these. So this is a little bit too bright for me. I'm gonna go down, down, down. And yeah, what I wanted to show you guys, this is like a 12x1 B raw. We're shooting from outside the car through the windows. Looks very nice. Even here, I mean, here there's like so much you can do because this is raw. So we can play around with the color temperature, and you know, it was like, you know, you can make it very, very moody, very, very kind of greenish kind of look too, and you can push it kind of all over. And that's like probably the beauty of RAW, even if I'm not a big fan of it. But I have to admit that in this case, it's kind of useful because you can just go here, 2800, and you know, you can make it very cool. So you can give a completely different mood to your frame for whatever you're doing. Of course, maybe might need some like noise reduction, but imagine with if I was shooting this cinema DNG, the noise will be all over the place. And I think Blackmagic did a pretty decent job. Here's another clip. It just applied the same color correction. This is the Takumar 8 element, by the way. But I think Blackmagic did a pretty decent job of considering the fact that this file sizes are incredibly small. But I mean, I'm totally happy that they get rid of the noise for me, because honestly, I wish I had the time to remove noise from every single shot, but unfortunately I don't. So this is another shot, close up on the hands, and yeah, that's a nice Takumar flares. But A lot of information here too, still left in the shadows, and kind of like this. And again, this is like a very moody shot too. So what I did, again, Rec 709. Let's see my scopes here. Kind of crash that, lift up the blacks a little bit, and yeah, that's nothing left to do probably. Color temperature, of course, is extremely cold, but we can play around with that and place it pretty much where we want. That was ISO 1250. So ISO 1250, very nice. Wow, I can't believe it, because like there's noise, but it's a bit of noise, but it's not too bad. Probably with some denoising you can still use it, but 3200, extremely clean. 1250, very clean. This was the Blackmagic Raw clip, and you know, pretty easy to grade. I don't see any crazy artifacts or whatever. I mean, maybe there is, but I'm not. I don't know. I'm not really seeing it here. I mean, it looks pretty clean to me. It looks like a pretty sick frame. I just wanted to give you guys an idea here too about skin tones. How it looks like. Look at that nice bokeh and separation. Like, this is the Takumar 50mm, so 100mm equivalent. Check out the separation from this subject to the background. It's kind of nice. So look at this shot. Very, very clean. Very nice skin tones. Yeah, there's nothing we can say about it. Blackmagic nailed it when it comes to color science. And look at that Takumar bokeh. This is the very last example I'm going to show you guys. I shot this clip at sunrise in Turks and Caicos, and the talent, the model, was walking down the fire pit, meeting with the actor, her husband, and I'm gonna just apply a lot here. The light was so good. I think the exposure was, I think I nailed exposure pretty well too. The Takumar did the rest, but here with one Rec 709 LUT, I pretty much have what I need. I don't think, why should I touch this frame at all? Like, check that out. I get a nice lens flare there, and she goes to him. Ocean is exposed pretty well. The sky, it's, you know, has all the information. It's a bit bright, but this is a very, very rare situation. Imagine that, like, you have the sun right in front of you, and the models, and it's crazy. It's like, this is a very, very different situation, and I'm very impressed with the camera, and I can just through my false color very quickly, guys. This is the last example, but I wanted to show you everything is exposed quite well. We might lose some details in the reflection, but it was the only way to keep her not under. So we start getting some green, and then we go pink on the sun. Of course, the sun is blown out, but you see, because it's covering most of those reflection in our frame, we don't really see a crazy amount of, you know, we can try to recover that a little bit. We don't see a crazy amount of like clipping. It's basically like green and pink, which is fine. And they're not even under, they're not even close to 10. They're probably around 30 right now, or 25, which is great. Or what is that, 20, 25, 30. So, you know, this is a very difficult situation for any camera, but the Blackmagic Pocket here, handle is pretty good. This is basically the same situation right here, and I swear I'm gonna just stop this video, but I wanted to just show you guys here. You know, there we go. This is another very hard situation, very different. I can actually increase a little bit the mid and bring up a little bit the shadows, but like the sun was hitting their face, and it's, I don't know, there's something magic about the light and the look of the lens. Look at the bokeh, the Takumar, which is the closest thing I've ever seen to a Cook look, and you know, everything was nice. Like keep in mind, guys, this is a sunrise, so it's one of the best moment in the day, sunrise and sunset, so the light is kind of magical. And it was in a pretty special location, but even this one, like, this is just a Rec 709. And again, you guys tell me what should I do more for this scene, because to me, this looks great, and I'm trying to capture now a little kiss, I think, and check that out. Little kids, yeah, little kids. Look how, and that's crazy. Is like, look how many information we have, how much information we have right here in the shadows too. It's pretty good. This is my process again, guys. I hope you guys enjoying, and if you want more of this kind of content and something more specific, I can probably do it. The problem with these kind of videos again is that it depends on the camera. Like I was chatting with Noam yesterday, and he was telling me that even the feature film we shot, it basically, with the Rec 709 on the Alexa, he get what he needs. And then of course it's gonna go ahead and fix the white balance and the contrast sometimes, but most of the time, if you don't screw up your exposure, if you nail the exposure, if you have the right lens, if you're in the perfect situation, honestly, the process of color grading, and it's extremely easy. It's a Rec 709, some white balance fixing and contrast, and that's about it. And I hope you guys, I gave you a proof of what I'm talking about here in this video, because you know, a lot of time people think you have to do crazy stuff in color grading. The reality is the cinematography is great. If your lens choice is great, the process of the filming is great. You don't really have much to do, especially when you're using cameras like the Pocket. Whatever I did right now with this footage, I would have never did it with the GH5S, like never. I had the GH5S for a few months, 6-7 months, and I use it all the time. And when I try to apply a Rec 709 lot, the green were like very digital, very video-ish, very DSLR, and the skin tones were very pinkish. So I had to use film convert all the time because that was giving me the right look that I wanted. You know, I got rid of the grain and just keep film convert clean, but it was helping me a lot to giving like a more filmic and organic look. While the Pocket, this is beautiful, and I think Blackmagic nailed it when it comes to skin tones and color reproduction and color science. This is beautiful. So I'm gonna shut up now, and thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. Keep in mind, I'm gonna make some of these files available on Patreon, so if you want to download them and play around with them, you can join me on Patreon for $5 a month. You can have tons of exclusive content. So thank you guys for watching the video. Thanks guys for subscribing, and I hope you guys have a great weekend or week or whatever. All right, thank you.